morning. It's Monday, April 1st. We're back from our break. No joke. Hope you're all escaping the pranks for April Fool's Day, or at least having fun with it. Thanks for joining us on Up to the Minute. We are bringing you all the news, announcements, and events, along with a couple of special guests. I'm Dr. Amy Tan, Dean of HCC's English and Communications, and I'm joined by Dr. Nicholas Cox, our History Department Chair. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. How was your holiday weekend?
It was lovely, having that Friday to kind of be with the family extended. It makes all the difference. How about yours?
Oh, it was great. It was great. My youngest son is contemplating going to UT San Antonio, so we popped over for the weekend and spent the weekend just being little San Antonio tourists, so he could get to know the city a little bit.
That is so fun to escape the city for a little bit. The big
Absolutely.
city. The big city. San Antonio is a city. Just
Different. It's nice to leave home. Absolutely.
different vibes. Well, we are live on our HCCTV. Nick, how can people find us?
Yeah, well, in addition to that, we're live on the Houston Community College District Facebook page and on YouTube. We're also on X, LinkedIn, and HCCTV at noon, 5, and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Wonderful. And we're glad that you're here with us. Today, with the annual math challenge coming up, we have the head of the department here to tell us all about it, Dr. Susan Fife. She's the interim division chair of HCC's mathematics program. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Amy. Happy April Fool's Day.
Yeah, I bet you have some good math April Fool's jokes.
You would think.
Well, I'll give you some time to think about it. We'll be right with you in a minute, and Nick will be interviewing you. So thanks so much for holding on. First, for Mental Health Monday, one of our monthly guests is here to discuss the decisions we make about right and wrong. Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick. He is the executive director of the Jung Center of Houston and our Mental Health Monday guest. Welcome back to the show, Sean.
Hey, welcome, Amy. I'm so glad to be back.
I always enjoy hearing from you and getting to learn more about fascinating topics, and today's is no different. Let's get into some of those choices that we make about right and wrong.
Yeah.
You say two people can look closely at an issue and come away with very different perspectives, and I think we can think of a lot of examples which could lead to conflict. How do we make those decisions, and how do they affect our mental health?
So, this is one of the most fundamental, questions in our survival as human beings. And we can think of it that way too. Which decision is likely to lead to my survival? Right? That's the question that's often underlying. We're not thinking that, right? But it's evolutionarily that's kind of sitting right beneath the surface. Over the course of my life, I've accumulated a lot of history, right? I've accumulated a lot of data, experiences that cause me to value certain experiences over others. And that's also true for my family and for my clan or my tribe, my culture of origin. We've accumulated over, hundreds of millennia of human experiences, these ways of valuing our experience, that some of them they're kind of sitting right on top of our genetics, right? So it's culture, it's what happens outside and what we're taught, but it's also very much what shows up in our bodies. And sometimes these long-term wisdom systems, or these systems of valuing our experience, we call morality. And that's a more recent term for it, but we have our own sort of moral sense. And for each of us, we develop a capacity called conscience, or that we're calling conscience, right? That helps us make these ongoing decisions about what's right and what is safe.
So that very interesting intersection between nature, nurture, which is kind of the environmental part.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that when we're speaking of the conscious, you like to use an image from Disney, the Jiminy Cricket on Pinocchio's shoulder, and that's how you like to think of conscious.
I do, and that's generational, right? I think probably for folks in my generation, Jiminy Cricket was a bigger presence than maybe he is for younger generations or older generations. But so in the cartoon, right, there's this little cricket that would pop up, and he'd hang out on Pinocchio's shoulder, and he'd try and give him advice. You know, Pinocchio, for those who remember the story, right? Pinocchio is this puppet who wants to become a real boy, and he tends to misbehave, or he tends to do things that are, you know, he needs to learn from, right? So famously, his nose grows when he lies, you know, and he goes out and causes trouble. And there's this little cricket that's trying to get him to pay attention and to not engage in these actions that are really, you know, exciting for him or whatever. And that is, I think, maps pretty well onto what's actual for us, which is that there's a part of us that comes online that is trying to guide us. And we can think of it in two ways. One of it is overwhelming, what we might call gut level empathetic responses to something that's happening, that just says this is wrong and it has to change, right? But we can also think of it as something that rests on shame, and the fear that we might be excluded from community, which is essential. Like if for parts of our lives, if we're cut off from community, and certainly parts of our evolutionary history, being cut off from community could be fatal, right? So, and that's where shame has emerged from, you know, from an evolutionary standpoint. So, you know, if we're going to veer from the path of community, conscience may show up. Like if we're veering from the morality or the expectations of our community, then the conscience may show up and say, wait, you're in dangerous territory. Sometimes, though, that experience of conscience can interfere with our ability to function in the world.
I mean, I absolutely can see that. And it's so interesting to think about that sort of voice, and like, how do you know it? How do you recognize it? You know, when is it telling you the truth? And, you know, and then also that, like, combining that with shame, because, you know, we've talked a lot about shame in the past few years with Brene Brown, and you know, that I guess, you know, peer pressure has always sort of been something forefront in my development, right?
Yeah.
And you know, just talking about it as a force, you know, for the past, you know, went from my child, and also in raising children, but you know, that inability to function in the world, like how does that happen? Can you talk more about that?
You bet. And you know, shame can paralyze us. I think a particular variation of this is something called scrupulosity. So scrupulosity. So I'll tell you a story to illustrate this. So my grandmother was, when like in the 1960s, but I was born in the early 70s. In the early 1960s, she was institutionalized. She suffered from catatonia, and catatonia in her case was just literally the inability to move. She came about it from what I would say is a really wildly over-functioning experience of conscience. She was raised Catholic, and over time she came to believe that anything she did, including like walking to the kitchen, would involve the risk of sin. So her body just stopped moving. She just stopped moving.
I mean, that is terrifying. I mean, I'm Catholic, so I totally get the whole concept of Catholic shame.
Uh-huh.
But that is just so scary to think, you know, that it can get to that point, and, you know, trying to navigate that, you know, how do you function? So what happened? Were they able to help her?
Yeah, they would use different methods today, I would hope, but at the time, this is early 1960s, they used electroconvulsive therapy. And for those of us who've seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that's what we're talking about. That era of ECT. Today's era of ECT is much more humane and less dangerous. But what it did, though, was, so it did help. Like, it shook her out of the catatonia. And you know, I got to know her 10, 15 years later, and she was wonderful. She's loving and kind and caring. And she went to confession every day for most of the rest of her life, because she was still trying to manage that fear that everything she was doing was wrong.
Wow. I mean, the psychology is just fascinating. So how do we know when it's a problem, when our commitment to what we see as right is somehow harming us?
Sometimes that's the hardest part, because what we believe is that we are doing what's actually helping us, right? I would say that really good indicators are when we lose the capacity for joy and curiosity. When those go away, that we should be concerned. When we're struggling in our relationships, either because other people are failing to meet a standard that we have for them, or because we're afraid that we don't, that we're not good enough, we're not perfect enough, you know. And when we find ourselves worrying in a way we can't control about our thoughts or behaviors constantly, and whether they're right or wrong, these are some pretty good indicators.
And I imagine that's when it's time to seek help, when you realize that the anxiety and the shame and the fear is really impacting your day-to-day function.
Yeah, that's the bottom line, is if you're not able to function in the ways that you would like, that are, you know, are ideal for you, or that's when it's helpful to get somebody to give you some perspective on it. And often, yeah, a therapist or some sort of clinical intervention would be helpful.
Yeah, so maybe some cognitive behavioral therapy too, right?
It can definitely be helpful, particularly with people who are struggling with this, and also medication can be helpful too, to just bring the intensity down a bit. Yeah.
Well, this is fascinating. I mean, what an interesting topic. I'm really enjoyed hearing about it. But before I let you run off, can you tell us what's coming up at the Jung Center?
Yeah, you bet. Two quick things. One is that we've started something for our members, which is a book club called Beyond the Page. It actually starts next Tuesday, and we're working with a book by a writer named Anne Lamott called Dusk, Night, Dawn, and we just hosted her recently, and she's fantastic. The other thing I'll mention is that we have a series we do every year. It's called Popcorn Psychology, and we're starting it again next week. It's we're starting with, we do 4 films in a row, like one a week for 4 weeks. And so it's Barbie is next week.
Oh, fun.
And this is one that I host, and I definitely have a co-presenter for Barbie. A friend of mine is a psychologist, Jacinta Tucker. And then we're going to do Tar, and then Asteroid City, and we'll end up with Oppenheimer. So we'll do a little Barbenheimer, you know,
Barbenheimer.
in the end. Yeah.
I also heard someone suggest that Poor Things makes a really good pairing with Barbie, like that, put those two side by side.
That makes total sense. I haven't watched it yet, but my family's got it on deck. We've got it coming up. So.
Yeah. Well, this was fascinating. I really appreciate your joining us for our Mental Health Monday. Dr. Sean Fitzpatrick, Executive Director of the Jung Center of Houston, and our Mental Health Monday guest. We'll have all your information in the post after the show.
Thank you so much, Amy. It's great to be with y'all as always.
I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to move on to Dr. Cox and Dr. Susan Fife.
Thank you so much, Dean Tan. Welcome to the show, Dr. Fife. I guess it's after Mental Health Monday, we can now turn to Mathematics Monday. You are the interim division chair of HCC's math program. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. It's a pleasure to be here.
Are you enjoying your time in the chair office?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, congratulations on that new position. Let's start by talking about the math challenge, including the scope and format. Just tell me more about this.
Sure. This is our 4th year of hosting the math challenge. The math challenge is basically it's an all-day event where we invite current HCC math students to attend and to showcase their skills. We give them a test. It's a written test. And then we score the tests and award prizes. We have a lunch event where we showcase the most difficult questions on the test and ask students for different ways that they could have approached the question. This is a test open to all HCC math students. Any student from developmental math, from our lowest level course up to our highest level course, can take it. It's not a calculus-based test, it's an algebra-based test. Most of our students have taken algebra in high school, if not in college. And so the questions are going to be familiar to them, regardless of the level of math that you're at. You should have You should see some of those questions are very familiar to you. And we're hoping that it'll be a fun day for all of our students.
Well, excellent. I mean, it sounds like this math challenge is inclusive to students of all mathematical skill levels. What are some of the benefits of participation if you're just starting with your math coursework or completing that most rigorous classes that you offer?
I think just participating in a math challenge, it allows you to focus on the mathematics and showcase your skills. If you are a high level person who really likes to showcase them, it allows students to work with their faculty and with other students together. During one part of the day, during the lunch portion, we'll have puzzles that they'll be able to work at their table. They'll be able to work together in teams and possibly with their instructors and win additional prizes that way. It's just a good way to work together, to share mathematics.
Well, let's talk a little bit about those prizes and recognitions, those incentives to participate. I know we've been promoting the Math Challenge on HCCTV for a little while now, but what can students win in this contest?
Our grand prize is a summer internship where the student that wins will be able to work with a faculty member from the University of Houston downtown on a project that is to be determined. It'll be based upon the student's interests, and they'll meet with the University of Houston faculty weekly, on a weekly basis. It's a paid internship, which is awesome. Imagine working a whole summer on nothing but mathematics. In addition, we have tablets, we have calculators, we have gift cards and other prizes available as well.
Well, now, what's the limit here? I understand there is only a certain number of students who can register, so they ought to sign up quickly.
That's true. We have, we can handle up to 240 to 250 participants. To be a participant, you have to have taken a math class at HCC, either in the fall or the spring semester. As of last week, we were closing in at 200. So we still may have some spots available. I do encourage anybody who's interested to participate. And if it fills up, I feel that if based upon room availability, you can always come and cheer on your fellow students, the prize winners.
Well, what can staff and faculty at the college do to help you promote this? I know it's at Eastside on Friday, but what else can we do for you?
Well, we have all of our math faculty and our staff helping out. Our math faculty have announced this to their classes, hopefully posted the flyers in our campus courses. We've emailed as many students as we were allowed to email. I think we have a limit of 10,000 emails per day. How about that?
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. So if you know of any student who hasn't heard about the Math Challenge yet, and I can't imagine there being many, I would encourage them to contact the math department to see how they can get registered.
Well, before we run out of time here, I'll tell you a little personal information. But when I was in elementary and middle school, I was on the math club for the mental math contest. We would travel around from school to school in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and we just had so much fun doing math problems in those. When you're a little 10-year-old kid, math challenge was you got out of your day, you got out of school, you get to go to another school and compete. I guess I was also a third stringer on the Texaco Challenge, if anybody remembers that. It was a local TV Jeopardy imitation. A lot of fun, a lot of fun. Trivia game. So let me just thank you again. And we will share information about this event in the post and notes after our show. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Susan Fife. And I hope this event is just absolutely packed with people and fun.
Yeah, me too. It'll be a great time for everyone, guaranteed. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, we hope to hear about it afterwards and keep it going every year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that sounds exciting. Paid internship is the grand prize. I mean, that is very motivating. I know those internships are hard to come by. So some lucky student is going to win that this Friday.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're not even being paid just to do their own work, but to develop a unique internship opportunity guided by faculty on the students' interests themselves. It's wonderful.
I mean, and those opportunities are just, I mean, they're rare, especially in the liberal arts, as you know. Social sciences is a little harder. So, well, we have some news events and announcements to get to. And the first one is we are getting ready for graduation. So if you're a student out there and you're going to graduate this year, the deadline, one of the deadlines is today. So if you're graduating this spring, make sure you complete 2 important steps. One of those is today. Apply for graduation. That's today. I'm going to keep saying that. Register for commencement by Monday, April 22nd. So for more information on how to do that, check the post after the show, because we want to see you walk across the stage and celebrate with your family and friends and your faculty. Coming up, we have some counseling sessions.
Yeah, this is appropriate here for Mental Health Monday, but HCC Counseling is presenting Widening the Circle of Recovery. It's led by Recovery ATX. It will emphasize the significance of broadening perspectives beyond conventional narratives on the problematic relationship with drugs and alcohol. The presentation will also include a Q&A. It is virtual on WebEx tomorrow, Tuesday, from noon to 1 p.m. Please check our post after the show for registration info.
We have a faculty art exhibition, Avoid Highways. This exhibition features the work of John Force. There's going to be an artist reception from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That's this Wednesday, April 3rd. The exhibition will go through We'll go through May 1st at Houston Community College West Loop Gallery. This is a free event and you don't need to register. Be sure to check that post after the show. And more on graduation.
That's right. Every year we have a graduation commencement program, and there is a student cover contest every year. So as graduation approaches, students can showcase their amazing design and art skills by creating a graduation cover for the spring and fall 2024 ceremonies. The 2 winners will not only get their artwork published in the programs, but will also have a chance to win a new iPad. Submissions are due by 5 p.m. Friday, April 19th. To learn more about this art and design contest, check our post after the show.
Just amazing prizes. I'm excited about all these opportunities for our students. We have some citizenship courses that we are offering on Fridays and Saturdays. HCC is currently offering citizenship courses at 3 campuses. For only $25, individuals can take U.S. citizenship preparation classes. The Friday classes are from 6 to 8 p.m. through June 14th. Those are located at the East Side campus. And our Saturday classes are 9 to 11 a.m. through June 15th. Those are going to be at Northline and Braes Oaks campuses. Check our post after the show for more information on those courses.
And finally, just a reminder to everyone out there, summer enrollment is open and fall registration is going to begin very, very soon. I just checked my numbers this morning. I've already got 956 students taking history classes this summer. So things in the summer filling up. Yeah. Well, summer registration for the 5, 8, and 10-week courses has begun. Fall registration is around the corner as well. Regular registration for fall begins April 15th. I think the schedule will go live very soon for students to browse. So again, like all of HCC's courses, we offer things online anytime, online on a schedule, in person, hybrid, and hybrid labs. Lots of modalities, sessions, and times and campuses. To learn more about HCC programs, start dates, and options to cover your costs, go to hccs.edu/apply.
Well, and happy April Fool's Day, Dr. Cox. Thanks for being here with me.
May you get through the day without being pranked too much.
That's right. May that be true for all of us. And coming up, we'll welcome the director of Macbeth and a Bookshop, said to be created by William Shakespeare and the HCC Central Devising Ensemble. And for Tasty Tuesday, the new Upper Kirby Japanese restaurant called Money Cat will join us. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.